Wait, is Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt actually the bad guy? Or is it Oppenheimer? I think you can make the case for either, and I'll discuss that along with my critical thoughts, but without spoiling anything, in this review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. With Ethan Hunt in possession of the key that can unlock the entity, the artificial intelligence with the power to destroy the world, he will need to reconnect with his team of undercover agents to elude the US government, find his mortal enemy Gabriel, and stop the all-knowing computer before time runs out. This adventure will take Ethan and his team to all corners of the world as they race the clock to save the world from certain destruction. The stakes in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning can't get much bigger. Either Tom Cruise and his team of really good-looking movie stars succeed, or the human race is eliminated. It makes sense for the final movie in a 30-year franchise. Now, as much as I appreciate the Mission Impossible movies, I wasn't a huge fan of 2023's Dead Reckoning Part 1, of which this is the direct sequel. But would Part 2, The Final Reckoning, win me over?
I need you to trust me. One last time.
Well, I must say the opening act is one complete exposition dump, a long monologue recapping the story filled with literal grainy flashbacks to dozens of scenes from the franchise. It reminded me of a Veronica Mars flashback from the WB teen drama. After this initial nostalgic look back and setup for this final adventure, Final Reckoning settles into an ebb and flow of brief knife battles, gun stalemates, and bomb diffusions, with more long-winded monologues explaining the current predicament, most of which are extreme close-ups of the characters' faces. These elements, though staples of the Mission Impossible franchise, don't feel like Mission Impossible. It certainly doesn't feel like a Christopher McQuarrie directed Mission Impossible. I would suggest it felt a bit more like a Michael Bay film at this point. The dialogue scenes were quite boring, to the point where I found myself looking at my watch a couple times. And the action scenes, though cool at times, made very little sense. Characters show up at secret meetings even though they're completely top secret. They masquerade as prison guards or become featured guests at a heavily guarded formal gala. How they achieve any of this is never explained, we just have to suspend disbelief. And to be fair, that's the magic of movies. But when it happens consistently, with no effort or explanation, it becomes problematic, and I begin to lose interest. I don't feel nervous when Tom Cruise and Grace, Haley Atwell, get captured and threatened with torture. I don't feel tension when the president, Angela Bassett, must make a decision that could take innocent lives. And I don't feel sad when a lead character may sacrifice their life for the good of the many. In fact, I'm still more upset that Rebecca Ferguson didn't make it out of the last movie. In addition, some key plot points hint to the fact that the entity has this power because of Ethan's decisions from past movies, and the snowball effect has led us to this moment where nuclear bombs may be weaponized all over the globe, which was Oppenheimer's ultimate fear in Christopher Nolan's film, so this is technically all his fault. Now, I sound very negative to this point, but there is a moment in this film leading into the final act where the movie thoroughly flips a switch and becomes a Christopher McQuarrie Mission Impossible movie at its best. Several exciting things are happening simultaneously, and it includes, as you've seen in the marketing, a biplane dogfight. What you've seen in the commercials cannot prepare you for how amazing this final act is. It almost made me forget the first 2 hours of the film. It is exciting. It is maybe the best stunt work Tom Cruise has ever done, which is saying a lot. And in IMAX, it is, and I say this with zero exaggeration, it is why we go to the movies. Where was this in the first 2 hours? Because this final act is essentially perfect. That makes my overall rating difficult, one of the reasons I don't like star ratings, but I get asked to do them, so here we go. If the first 2 acts were 2 out of 5, but the final acts were 5 out of 5, I will give Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning 3 out of 5 stars, but almost all of the positivity comes in the final act. There's even a tense moment where a character must make a decision in which people will definitely die, and after moments of indecision, she says, "No, let's unplug everything." Then no one dies. Why didn't they think of that from the beginning? It's because this movie is big, bombastic, with a lengthy submarine rescue mission I didn't even discuss, with lots of callbacks to the older movies meant to celebrate the franchise, but unfortunately to me, only the final 45 minutes did it successfully. What do you think of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning? Am I being too negative? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this review, I want to ask you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss any of my future content. Also, you can check out some of my other videos by clicking on one of these boxes.